This is Spoken by Elswith, a Femdom Hypnosis podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Plus, visit my website for sessions too intense to be included here. Visit my Patreon to collect your free codes for sessions. Hello, dear, and welcome to my first new podcast episode in a while. I've taken some time off to refresh and to ruminate on some fun new ideas. Sorry, the word ruminate always gives me a bit of a chuckle, mostly because it is a word that you see inserted in different text or conversations. And I tend to use it as well, I think, just to amuse myself. But anyway, it makes me think of something completely different, a certain type of critter. It just comes into my head. So that's why I'm giggling. I wonder if the same critter just popped into your head. Anyway, there's a short introduction and then a full hypnotic session that follows. But trust me, don't skip ahead. Take this opportunity to relax and just listen. Get used to the sound of my voice and take it as part of your induction. And I promise you won't regret it. So, I'll be honest. I was a little exhausted by some of those day job commitments and other meat space stuff. Well, I'd just come back from my holiday, vacation, depending on which you prefer. And it was amazingly restful and just restorative and lovely, the disconnecting. Basically taking like 2 luxurious baths each day with a skylight and huge windows, and watching the stars before sleep every night. But I just had to get all my plates spinning again. And it was getting hard to keep up being interesting, entertaining, a bit sexy, captivating, all those good things. And I don't want to phone it in when working on sessions to share with you. Like I've said to my patrons, you don't owe anyone the appearance of being okay and fully on top of things. You don't have to present this outward mask of everything being perfect. This isn't even when facing down severe bouts of depression, but this is just typical level of overwhelm as life goes through its usual cycles of ups and occasional downs, and those periods of normal that sometimes can feel when compared to all of the other periods of exciting and interesting and new relationship energy and all of that going on. I think my sessions, letting go of what others think and overcoming imposter syndrome, might be helpful in this regard. But, I haven't taken a deep dive into purely therapeutic sessions in a while. If this is something you'd like help with, just leave me a comment below or send me a message over on Patreon. Would you like me to take you back into trance again, to work on you? To work with you? Like I said, just let me know in the comments, dear. This session I'm about to share with you is about something adjacent to that. It's all about a perfectly natural and normal nocturnal phenomenon, which is wet dreams. I want you to feel comfortable thinking about it and talking about it. But I'm not going to act as if the idea of being conditioned to encourage them doesn't have a delightful allure. This session also encourages you to develop your own detailed fantasy to explore. Now, I'm including this generic approach in this session because, who knows who might encounter it. But I have a handful of more specific fantasies from my own mind that I'm eager to share with you. You can find them all over on the website, spokenbyelswith.com, and I'll make sure that it's easy to find them, although I know you don't mind a bit of work. Finally, usually at the end of a podcast episode, I'll remind you to like and subscribe. I'll remind you too of some of the wonderful things I have on my website and on Patreon. But, it's my genuine belief that once this time together ends, you will be fast asleep. So, go on, dear. Go hit the like button, rate the podcast episode, do all those neat things that feed the algorithm. All done? Good. Let's get started. This is Wet Dream Sleep Hypnosis, spoken by Elswith. The goal of this session is to encourage a very particular type of experience, and quite possibly to achieve a fantasy of yours, because it is my intent to direct your subconscious thoughts well enough that you dream only the naughtiest thoughts while you sleep. And yes, my ultimate goal is that as you lie there snoring, you find uncontrolled, spontaneous release. Right now, I'm going to take just the briefest moment to address any doubters. If you're not a doubter, don't skip ahead, because either way, I want you to listen to my voice and become more relaxed and comfortable, just listening intently and not distracting yourself. You should be exactly in the spot where you would be to sleep, and you should have handled every other part of the routine. Last run to the bathroom, flipping the pillow to the cool side, or setting the alarm clock. Do all of that, and I'll continue. Wet dreams are sometimes called nocturnal emissions, and especially when talking about the male experience. They're a pretty typical part of puberty, and they are a very real physiological phenomenon that many experience into adulthood. Next to that indisputable fact, another, it is absolutely possible to influence dreams with what you think about and discuss while awake. Some dreams appear abstract and formless, and there are all manner of common, repeated themes: falling, being chased, teeth falling out. I think that the idea of being unexpectedly naked in a public place is influenced by that trope being overused by cartoon writers. But more personal material you might encounter in your own dreams. It may come from the conversations and the media that you consume in your waking life. I've talked previously about how the state one enters during hypnosis has similarities to the pre-REM stage of sleep. It is my firm belief that listening to a session like this one can absolutely influence your dreams. I'm going to add into this the specific suggestions to increase your general level of arousal, and some other things that I hope will bring about the result that we're ultimately looking for. Don't think of those suggestions as denial, but as delaying the inevitable in the hope that it will be all around more satisfying. I'm going to lead straight into another brief aside. If you're listening to me, listening to this session, you might have a general understanding of chastity. It might be that you're very familiar with chastity indeed. As an adult, you might know, and you might have even experienced that more intensely sexual dreams are a possible result of lengthy periods without release. Now, it should be clear that this session is a sleep session, and through the course of the session I will be speaking to you with the assumption that you will end this session by drifting off into a deep, deep down and relaxing sleep. Perhaps it will seem that my voice is becoming more distant, and you seem to hear my voice less and less. Perhaps it will feel like I am close to you, even directly behind you. And it is the other stimuli, the small sounds of the outside world, the soft glow of an LED on the other side of the room that will slowly become less and less pointed and significant. Either way, it is inevitable that you will find yourself slowly and comfortably drifting, floating and down into a comfortable feeling deep within you. You can know and you can relax with the knowledge that sleep, good and restorative sleep, is my goal for you. And you can know and you can relax with the knowledge that a warm and embracing state of trance is within your grasp. This is a state where all externalities other than my voice in your ears will fade in importance. And you can accept this reality with ease, knowing that this is something you want deeply, and that it is completely safe and acceptable to do this for me and for yourself. We are going to work together on preparing the perfect dream for you, a fantasy that permeates through the layers of your conscious and subconscious desires, that picks up forgotten details, the minutiae of your psyche, and grows and develops, and that leads, if slowly, towards our shared goal. Yeah, you know the one, that one. I like to give you good things. It's my pleasure to do this for you. I dwell in possibility. I'm going to show you the answers to 6 questions, and then I'm going to ask you those questions, one after the other. Knowing the answers, being able to give them properly, easily, with no hesitation, is going to allow you to deepen your relaxation and you will develop your ability to follow my suggestions eagerly and obediently, which will be essential as you continue. I will first ask you, what must you do? Which is an easy answer to give. You must listen to my suggestions and then follow them as closely as it's possible. And then the simple and straightforward and thrilling to provide words that I love to hear, as I must obey. Once you acknowledge this, I will ask you, who do you obey? And you will know immediately that the correct answer is, I obey Elswith. So I'll say, how much do you obey me? And I'll wait for you to answer quickly. I won't have to wait long. I obey Elswith completely. Now we stray into less familiar territory, but the next three answers match each other nicely, and you will find it easy to recall them. I will ask you, who gives you good things? And you will say, good things come from Mistress. I will ask you, who do you give yourself to? And you will say, I give my whole self to Mistress. I will ask you, who guides your dreams? And you will say, my dreams are guided by Mistress. When I ask each of these questions again, I will give you time to answer properly, aloud, under your breath, or solely in your mind. Each of these possibilities is equally meaningful and valuable. What must you do? Who do you obey? How much do you obey me? Who gives you good things? Who do you give yourself to? Who guides your dreams? I do. I guide your dreams because I care about you. I love to take any opportunity to teach you and entrance you. And I lead you to good things. And doing this is my own personal good thing. It gives me joy to take control. With our shared headspace that you're currently venturing deeper into, so easy to do when you give me hypnotic control of you, listening to and obeying my suggestions, you know that I can be right there. Shared wants and shared desires, shared creativity that you love to show off for me. You know that I can whisper into your ear just the right thoughts that will guide your dreams to our shared, so eagerly desired, craved destination. Speaking of destinations, I want you to think about a very specific, very familiar sensation. This is that pre-climatic moment right before release, where your mind and your heart are running a mile a minute, where you're likely hyper-focused on a particular fantasy, if you're alone. And you're playing with yourself, of course. That moment is something you're so familiar with that it is easy to imagine that you could inflame your arousal to that level. Just by imagining what happens to your body as it washes over you. Perhaps you daydream about or practice edging, ruined orgasms, and if you do, you're even more familiar with the feeling of that exact moment where you've taken in too much pleasure and explosive climax, or a dribbly puddle, are the only possibilities. As much as I'd like to know you as intimately as I can, so I can make use of those stimuli, responses, habits, to take deeper control of you, you're always going to know your own body best. You know the way that the muscles in your thighs or your bottom tighten, the way your toes curl, the way you shudder in the moment that your breath catches. You know what it's like to come up to that tipping point of no return. Allow me to inflame your desire. Fixate and imagine and remember that intensity. As we continue, I am going to remind you of that level of arousal, of the tipping point. Whenever I do, you will be able to easily, even more readily, recall the sensations, the reactions of your body for me. And I promise that with practice, those sensations will become a part of your dreams. This may be the first time you are hearing these words, and if so, you may only have the slightest inkling of what fantasy you want to take with you into your dreams. Or you might be a habitual daydreamer. This is a familiar state of being to me, I promise. There's even a more scientific word for it, but we'll skip that for now. So your desired dream, it might be rich with detail and thoroughly thought through, such that if I were to ask you, your answer would be on the tip of your tongue. It would be ready to burst forth from you. Perhaps you wouldn't stop speaking until you had bared all. Perhaps you see the smile on my face after a while and realize that you've given me everything I need to make you into anything I'd like. If you're hearing these suggestions for the first time and you don't know exactly what you hope I'll nudge your dreams towards, don't panic that you're going to be asked for spontaneous creativity, but instead, just think about one simple aspect of your desires. This could be simply the idea of having someone take control of your mind, your thoughts, and turning them towards what they want. It might be having someone in your life who thrills at hearing you tell them that they can twist your thoughts. Carefully place their own ideas into your mind. Hide the seams so you're never completely sure what is you and what is them. I can be that person for you right now. I'm already nudging your fantasy towards you being controlled, taken, trained, corrupted by my whispered words in your ear. You could have chosen something brazen and obvious to fuel your wet dream, but losing control of yourself is so easy and intoxicating. so easy as a point of focus. You've come so far with me right now. You're so deep. You're so deep. And it's so hard to think of doing something, anything else in this moment. You know just how hard it would be to stop. You don't want to stop. You know that this session with me doesn't end. Instead, you will drift off to sleep with my words still echoing in your ears. Now is the time to focus on that fantasy. Now is the time to embellish it with whatever thoughts come to mind. Ideas from past times you've dropped into trance for me. Naughty imaginings that you've held on to for years. That time, a fantasy came true, and just how wonderful it was, how perfectly it met every expectation, how deeply you'd love to experience it every day, every night. Allow that familiar state of arousal to grow inside of you. You know the one, that point of no return. Well done. I'm proud of you for getting this far. Now it is fast approaching the time that I expect you to fall into a deeper state of relaxation and begin to drift off to sleep. As sleep takes over, your brain will begin its own nightly routine. You have things to process, thoughts and memories to pack away for safekeeping. Into that swirling mix of ideas and happenings, we have added just a dash of naughtiness. Not so much that it's unusual. You are an inventive and carnal creature, with a mind that can turn itself to any number of possible outlets for these naughty thoughts. And so this little extra mental voyeurism, it's no aberration. It will fit nicely along with the other thoughts you've given me. I am going to count down from 5 to 0. And when I reach that round number, that most simple and null and void digit, you will be conscious of just as many thoughts crossing your mind. Within moments of me counting down, all the way down, your body will be ready for a blissful sleep, and your body will take you there. As you rest, your subconscious mind can take the opportunity to enter into your personal dream. Right now, a wonderful feeling is growing inside you, a comfort that wells up your abdomen and overflows a wonderful, relaxing feeling all through your body. This is the feeling of pour that I have described to you. It comes to you now so that you can know that you are safe and that it is okay for you to rest. 5. From this moment on, you are able to drift off to sleep at any time you wish. You are able to relax, knowing that a restful sleep is all that lies ahead of you. 4. You are able to experience your perfect dream as you do this. And you know that I've given you all you need to ensure that it meets everything that you'd love to experience in your fantasy. 3. You are just as easily able to recall that delicious feeling of tension, of imminent and explosive release, and you can take this with you happily into your dream. I give you permission to take me with you into sleep, to play out the role of mistress, domina, goddess, Elswith. I know my lines. I know how to play my part. 1. This is the coda. This is the end, the dusk. Rest now, little bird. 0.